We are live.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the September 2nd SRC agenda and committee meeting. And if the secretary would please call the roll.
Certainly. Mr. Holloway,
Present.
Mr. Santiago,
Here.
Mr. Hunley,
Mr. Hunley is no longer part of SRC. I am Miss Floyd for the department.
got it, got it. Thank you. Miss Floyd, thank you. Miss Nygren, Mr. Hicks,
Jim Hicks, Sheriff's Office, present.
Miss Halsworth,
Present.
Miss Myers, we have applicant Siddiqui,
Yes, present.
okay. Applicant Astronomo,
Present.
Miss Gutierrez.
Good morning. I'm here.
Good morning.
Okay.
It
Do we
looks
have
like
a quorum?
we have a quorum.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's see. I think do we have any items to be continued on the agenda?
Yes, so we're going to have the approval for the previous action summary. We're going to be adding it to the next meeting, to the next
Okay.
agenda.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Okay. So we don't have a minutes to approve and no items to be continued. So let's do the oath for the applicants. If you would please do that, that would be great.
Certainly. Applicants, please raise your right hand, and the appropriate response is I do. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give this board is the truth? So help you God. If you do not swear, do you so affirm?
Do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, let's call item number 1, please. Metro Air Park.
Item number 1 is Metro Air Park Lot 36 tentative parcel map. It's located in the east of Metro Air Parkway between West Elkhorn Boulevard and Meister Way within the Metro Air Park Special Planning Area in the Natomas community. The request is for a tentative parcel map and design review. The environmental doc is an addendum.
Thank you. Good morning, SRC members. This is Meredith Holsworth, and I'm the project manager for
Good
the
morning,
Lot
Meredith.
36. Good morning. I'm the project manager for the Lot 36 Metro Air Park tentative parcel map. If you can go to the next slide, please. The project site is located east of Metro Air Parkway between West Elkhorn Boulevard and Meister Way within the Metro Air Park Special Planning Area and within District 5C of the SPA, which is the Office Hotel Retail Services District. The project site is zoned with the Metro Air Park SPA and is surrounded on all sides by SPA zoning, and the site is currently undeveloped. The request is for a tentative parcel map to divide approximately 22.7 acres into 25 lots within the SPA, and the request also includes a design review entitlement to comply with the countywide and the Metro Air Park design guidelines. Next slide, please. The tentative parcel map shows the layout of the proposed 25 lots, as well as the street sections proposed on the various streets. It also shows the section for the landscape corner that is dedicated on the corner of proposed parcel 1. Next slide, please. The proposed lot sizes range from 0.36 to 2.68 acres. There is no development proposed at this time, but the lots are being split to be utilized for future commercial uses. The corner of proposed parcel 1 is designated as a landscape corner in the Metro Air Park landscape and design guidelines, and space has been dedicated on that parcel map to provide for this. As of this meeting, staff has not received any comments from the public on this project. Next slide. The Design Review Advisory Committee reviewed the project on January 14th and found the project to be in compliance with the design guidelines. And the Natoma CPAC reviewed the project on October 8th of last year and recommended approval. And staff is also recommending approval of the project as proposed, subject to findings and conditions. Next slide, please. Staff's recommended actions before you are to recognize the addendum to the Metro Air Park final EIR and determine that it is still the adequate and appropriate document for the proposed project, to approve the tentative parcel map, and to find the project in compliance with the countywide and the Metro Air Park design guidelines, subject to findings and conditions. That concludes the staff presentation, and I'm available for questions, and we also have the applicant on the line. Thank you.
Okay. Let's start out, see if we have any questions for Meredith. None appearing. One thing, I don't have my cheat sheet with me, so I forgot to do the public comment procedures, which I need to read into the record before we proceed. So if everybody will hold on just for a second. In compliance with directives of the county, state Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, this meeting is live streamed and closed to in-person public attendance. The meeting procedures are subject to change pursuant to guidelines related to social distancing and minimizing person-to-person contact. To make a verbal comment during the meeting, the public comment phone line will open 15 minutes prior to the start of the meeting. Refer to the agenda item and listen to the live meeting to determine when is the best time to call and to be placed into the queue to make a public comment. Callers may be put on hold for an extended period of time. Should plan accordingly, please dial 916-875-2500. Follow the prompts to be placed into queue for specific agenda item or off-agenda matter. When the chair opens the public comment period for a specific item on or off the agenda, callers will be transferred from the queue into the meeting to make a verbal comment. Each agenda item in the queue will then remain open until the public comment period is closed for that specific item. One thing I should mention is that this hearing will be the final action on these items unless they are appealed within 10 days of today's meeting, and that appeal must be filed with the clerk of the board. Okay, let's see if we have any questions of Meredith. And if none, do we have any public comments or anyone on the line regarding this item?
We currently do
no
not have any
questions.
public comments, written or otherwise.
And I hear no public comments or any questions of Meredith. So what's the pleasure of the committee? Typically planning makes the motion.
Oh, this is Kimber. Sorry.
Hi, Kimber.
Hi. I move to recognize the addendum to the Metro Air Park.
Just happened.
Report is still adequate and appropriate for the proposed project, as well as approve the tentative parcel map subject to findings and conditions, and find the project in substantial compliance with the countywide design guidelines and Metro Air Park design guidelines subject to findings and conditions.
Second.
Okay,
Member
we have a
Santiago.
motion. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None appearing. Please call the roll.
Mr. Santiago?
Aye.
Mr. Hicks?
Aye.
Ms. Halsworth?
I'm the project manager, not a voting member.
Mr. Holloway?
Aye. Ms. Floyd?
Aye.
I think that is all the members on the call today. Is that correct?
They forgot me, Kimber. Aye.
Oh, sorry, Kimber.
It's okay.
We got,
Miss Kimber?
Aye.
okay, so it appears the motion passes. Okay, please all call item number 2.
Item number 2 is 9076 Golden Gate Tentative Parcel Map, located in 9076 Golden Gate Avenue in the Orangeville community. The request is a tentative parcel map and design review. The environmental document is a mitigated negative declaration.
Hello again, this is Meredith Holsworth representing the Golden Gate Avenue Tentative Parcel Map project as well. If you can go to the next slide, please. The project site is located at 9076 Golden Gate Avenue, approximately 700 feet east of Excelsior Avenue and bound by Peerless Avenue to the east. This is within the Orangevale community. The project site is zoned agricultural residential 2 acres and is developed with a single family home. The request is for a tentative parcel map to divide the subject parcel into 4 lots and a remainder lot, as well as a design review to comply with countywide design guidelines. Next slide. Here is the proposed tentative parcel map showing the proposed lot layout, the existing home on the remainder parcel that would be to remain, and the proposed building envelopes on the proposed 4 parcels, as well as the access to each lot. Next slide, please. Staff received 12 letters prior to the CPAC meeting indicating an opposition to waiving the requirement for a minimum lot size of 2 acres. This minimum lot size requirement will be met for all of the proposed lots. So that was explained at the CPAC meeting. And then there was an additional letter received after the CPAC prior to noticing for the SRC hearing, and that letter was included in the staff report hearing materials. So as I mentioned, the request is to divide 10 gross acres into 5 total lots. So they will be maintaining the AR2 zoning and the 2-acre lot sizes. There were no deviations requested. And if the project description was to at any point include deviations to the lot size of 2 acres, that would have required a special development permit. So then prior to the SRC meeting this morning, there were 4 more letters that were received by staff that were in opposition. Those letters were forwarded to the committee, and these letters address a concern for potential development of care homes on the subdivided property, and then the resultant potential negative consequences due to that development. So with the approval of this map, the property owner would be able to construct homes, including accessory dwelling units on the 4 resultant parcels, residential care homes up to 6 people being served per home would be permitted outright, and any other care homes serving more than 6 people would then be subject to discretionary entitlements and then another separate planning process hearing. So this project is subject to the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, and a mitigated negative declaration was prepared as the environmental document for this project. A biological report analyzing on-site surface waters, plants, and wildlife species, as well as an arborist report, were prepared, provided, and reviewed by staff. And it was determined that the project would result in a less than significant impact with mitigation for all environmental resources topics analyzed. There is no development proposed at this time, but the buildable areas and access points are being shown on the tentative map. Next slide, please. The Design Review Advisory Committee met on March 25th and recommended that the project be found in compliance with the countywide design guidelines. And the Orangevale CPAC met on February 2nd and voted unanimously to recommend approval of the project. Staff is also recommending approval of the project. Next slide, please. These are the recommended actions that staff is recommending. Recognize the environmental analysis prepared pursuant to CEQA is adequate and complete. Adopt the MMRP, or Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program. Approve the tentative parcel map and find the project in compliance with the countywide design guidelines, subject to findings and conditions. That concludes my presentation. We have the applicant available on the line for this project as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Meredith. Any questions for Meredith from the committee? I have one. Could we go back to the tentative map? Okay, let me see if I can enlarge this thing a little bit. I can't. Couple things, Meredith. The darker area in the sort of in the middle, kind of a oblong piece. Is that a pond?
Yes, that is a 0.38 acre seasonal pond.
Okay, that'll remain. And then
Yes.
you mentioned that the lots are not all 2 acres, and you said you had explained that during the CPAC meeting. Could you give us a brief summary of that explanation?
So the lots are all meeting the 2 acre lot requirement. It's a gross 10 acres being divided into an equal 5 2-acre gross lot size. So they're not deviating from the lot size requirement.
Okay, all right. Okay, would the applicant have anything to say?
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Javed.
Members of the committee. We have no comments. Staff adequately explained our request, so we ask that you consider approving this project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I believe we do have a commenter on the line. Do we have public comments?
We do have the 4 public comments that came in.
Okay. Why don't we hear from them now?
They are currently the written public comments.
Rochelle, we don't have anyone on the phone to speak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just apologies. I just wanted to clarify. We had written comments versus on the phone.
Got
so
it.
they were the written 4 comments.
Okay. I'm kind of just surprised. Typically, when you get that many written comments, somebody calls in. So that was surprising. Okay.
Brian, this is
Yes.
Megan. I have a question.
Sure.
I'm looking at the map and I'm trying to zoom in, but I do want to ensure that there is a home on the property that has an existing septic tank, that none of the septic system components are on any other of the remainder proposed parcels. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe that the existing home is served by a septic tank.
And it's on the lot that holds that existing home, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And none of the components, the pits, the tanks, or anything leach lines are going to cross over. Is that correct?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Javed. Any other questions for the applicant?
Yeah, this is Member Santiago.
Hi, Tony.
There's an existing building on parcel 2, proposed parcel 2. Do we know what that is? Because it's an accessory building and there's no primary once this map is recorded. Typically, we would ask that it be demolished.
Ray, can you comment on this?
Yeah, are you okay with that, Javed? That existing building on parcel 2 would be removed?
I was hoping Ray could answer this.
Well, it could be removed. It's just like a shed.
Do you know how big the shed is?
I would say 6 feet by 8.
Okay, bigger. It's
It
a lot
looks
bigger
bigger.
on the exhibit. It's not a 6 by 8.
6 is well, that's 6 by 10, like that.
Okay,
If
so
it's
Tony, do you need to add a condition here?
well, I don't know if it's a shed or not because it's shown to be much bigger on the exhibit. See what I got?
How about if we just have a condition that says any buildings exceeding 6 by 10 to be removed?
We can demolish it. There's nothing there.
Okay, let's go ahead and add a condition to have that existing building on proposed parcel 2 to be demolished prior to recordation.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, is that okay with the applicant?
Yeah. No, that's fine.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Brian,
Okay.
this is Megan again.
Yeah.
I just want to ensure that prior to the file, that condition number 28 is met prior to the filing of the parcel map or the recordation of the parcel map, that septic system survey is submitted to our department for review.
Okay. Can we add that into the condition?
It's a condition right now. I just want to ensure that prior to the recordation of the map that we receive that and review it.
Right. Let's add that language so it's very clear.
It looks like
Just to
that language
confirm,
is
Megan,
already
that's
there.
condition 28.
Yes, condition 28.
Yeah, just add prior to recordation of the map.
Thank you.
Okay, Kimber, what would you like to do here?
Mr. Holloway, I'm sorry. This is Greg from the clerk's office. We do
Okay,
have
Greg.
Hi, good morning. We do have two callers on the line. We're working on getting those through to you before you guys make a motion and take any action. So bear with
Thank
us
you.
one moment. We'll be right with
Oh,
you.
great. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. I expected callers.
Good morning, everybody. It's Greg again. Bear with us. We are working diligently to get these public comments into the meeting. So we appreciate your patience. This update, this is Greg again. We should have the calls coming through in a moment.
Thank you, Greg.
Hi, everyone. This is Lydia with the Clerk of the Board's office, and there is no public commenter for item number 1. She mistakenly got in the wrong queue. She will be speaking on item number 2.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Again, this is Lydia with the Clerk of the Board's office, and I just transferred the first caller over to Clerk Rochelle Berlanca, and she should be transferring the caller into the meeting momentarily.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
No worries.
Okay, we have an incoming caller at the moment. She's on the line. Okay, you could go ahead and talk into the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. I'm speaking on behalf of myself, Laura Mullen and Gary Mullen, my husband, and several of my neighbors who I've spoken to and are also of the same mind of what this letter is going to state. We, the residents of Peerless Avenue and surrounding neighbors, are strongly opposed to the current design of this subdivision. We have spoken to at least 15 homeowners in our immediate vicinity, and all have significant concerns identified with the request. I might also add that these neighbors, about 17 of them, originally to the CPAC meeting, they had emailed their concerns and their opposition. The fact that we had significant concerns was misrepresented to the board by the homeowner is concern to all of us. Peerless Avenue is a narrow street, too narrow to accommodate large fire trucks, passenger cars at the same time. It is not wide enough to accommodate a significant increase in delivery trucks, employee vehicles, visitors, or emergency vehicles that would be necessary should this property owner obtain a permit in the future to convert these parcels to elderly care homes, which he currently owns and operates elsewhere in the county. It is already necessary for larger vehicles to either access our privately owned upper acre at the end of the street to turn around. Otherwise, they need to back up the entire length of the street. In the winter, it's common for there to be flooding that occurs in the lowest point. When passenger vehicles of residents drive on the street, it's necessary for one of us to pull onto the shoulder of the road to give larger vehicles such as UPS trucks clearance. The sides of the road are also bordered by dirt that becomes quite muddy during the winter. We are very much opposed to bringing heavy traffic and congestion to our dead-end street that has many children playing and riding their bikes on it. The easiest, least impactful, and most sensible solution is to use the road that is already proposed for parcels 1 and 4 and the remainder parcel, as the property owner can simply extend that road to parcels 2 and 3. Golden Gate is a large road which is already the main entry point into our neighborhood and can safely permit cars to pass large trucks and emergency vehicles. Furthermore, Golden Gate does not have the seasonal flooding issues that Peerless Avenue does. Since the proposed subdivision is already using Golden Gate Avenue to access parcels 1 and 4 and the remainder parcel, it is far more sensible and environmentally friendly to add parcels 2 and 3 to the same access road. Developing 2 main entry points into our quiet rural neighborhood on Peerless Avenue endangers the children and wildlife on our street and also requires the completely unnecessary destruction of several decades-old oak trees. These trees support an ecosystem for wildlife and minimize our carbon footprint. I also want to add that I'm in complete support of information you've been submitted by Sharon Fells, who did an excellent job summarizing the concerns and opposition shared by dozens of homeowners who will be detrimentally impacted by a development so inconsistent with the current agricultural and rural atmosphere. The increased traffic from several unnecessary entry points on presently dead-end streets and unnecessary destruction of heritage oaks. So that is, we are in agreement, Gary and Laura Mullen, 7720 Peerless Avenue, the Ed Daniels family, 7630 Peerless, Gary and Brenda Girolami, 7629 Peerless, Alan Corinne Cleveland, 7640 Peerless, Kelly and Nikki Griffith, 7641 Peerless, Tyler and Amanda Pudge, 9115 Golden Gate, Kevin and Laura Alicio, 7907 Peerless, Adrian Jewell, 7916 Peerless, Scott and Audrey Hannon, 7726 Peerless. Those were just the people I spoke to recently, but as I said, 17 people, many additional than who I just mentioned, are completely opposed to this development as it is submitted.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. Do we have any questions for the commenter from the committee?
Brian, this is Kimber. No questions for the commenter, but I was wondering if we can get clarification on the required improvements for Peerless, either from...
I'm sorry, just a second. Could you say that a little louder, please?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I was just hoping to get some clarification on, from maybe Mr. Santiago, on the required improvements to Peerless.
Absolutely. First, I want to talk about Golden Gate Avenue in poor condition. And the applicant is responsible for rebuilding Golden Gate Avenue up to the center line and adding additional width for a potential shoulder. So let's make it clear that the applicant understand the obligation that's going to be required from them is that they're going to have to build it up to the center line and add 16 feet of pavement, basically from the center line to the edge of pavement to their project side. And that's going to be new pavement. Okay. Now on Peerless, which happens to be in good shape in my opinion. They also would be required, part of Peerless is actually in pretty bad shape. Near the intersection, they'd be required to do the same, build it up to the center line, 16 feet of pavement. And in areas where the pavement is acceptable, they would be responsible to widen it per standard, which would be 16 feet of pavement to the center line. Right. I guess that's what you're looking for, Kimber?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for staff or the commenter? None appearing. Do we have any additional commenters on the line?
Yes, we have an additional caller online.
Yes. Do we have one?
Yes, let me go ahead and put her on the next in queue. Just give me one moment.
Thank you.
Okay, we have caller at the moment.
Yes, hi. My name is Darren Bell, and I've written an email to the committee outlining my concerns as well as the concerns of my neighbors. I believe we're all in agreement. My first question would be in listening to the meeting so far, one of the committee members asked the owner about an existing structure on the existing parcel. And he indicated that it is a shed of 8 by 10 or 8 by 12. Well, in fact, there is a shed, but there's also a home on there. So I think it needs clarification that this is in fact an existing home. It's at least a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, about 1,200 square feet. So I'm questioning why he was failing to disclose the facts regarding that particular structure. That would be my first concern. And again, an indication of why he's not been forthcoming and forthright in what his intentions are for the use of this property. I think all the neighbors agree that he certainly has the right to subdivide into 2-acre lots. However, there is not one neighbor in the area that is in support of it turning into an elder care facility. And again, Mr. Astronomo has not been forthcoming in disclosing what his intentions are regarding that. So I think part of the reason why we're against the elder care facility is this area of Orangevale is not designed for the amount of traffic, noise, lights, congestion that 4 elder care facility homes will bring to this area. And I think it's important for the committee to appreciate the fact that we've bought and we live in this area to maintain a lifestyle, and it's getting harder and harder to keep that lifestyle. And that includes having small children riding their bicycles on the streets. It includes horseback riders like myself riding on the roads and feeling safe. And with additional traffic and large emergency vehicles potentially coming in and out of that property, it would cause a significant amount of danger to the neighborhood. And, oftentimes livestock gets out, and then what happens? There's obviously problems with that, and additional traffic makes it even worse. So I would just like the committee to even maybe come out and see what we're talking about. And when you see the size of these roads and the dead end factors, it just doesn't bode well for elder care. So if Mr. Astronomo wants to build these homes, let's just limit him to at least maybe one elder care facility. I mean, I think we could all agree and compromise, but for him to have carte blanche and he can just put on 4 if he wants, I think that's disrespectful to the neighborhood and the neighbors and what our concerns are. So again, please go back to Mr. Astronomo and question that residence. Why isn't he disclosing that on the existing parcel? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate those. Questions for the second commenter from the committee?
Hey, Brian, member Santiago here. I want to make it clear that the structure that I mentioned is actually shown on the exhibit, and it does say existing structure. And I want acknowledgement from the applicant that that structure will be demolished prior to recordation of the map. So we're not talking about a shed. I don't think a shed is shown on this exhibit. This is a fairly large structure. So I would have to believe that the caller is correct that this is a 1,200 square foot structure.
But it'll have
If you
to
don't
be
mind,
removed.
can I chime in? This is Mary Colesworth, project manager.
Sure.
There is an existing residence, a 1,200 square foot single family home on the remainder parcel that is to remain. The structure on proposed parcel 2 is what you were talking about. That's not the 1,200 square foot single family residence. And looking at the two on the exhibit, the existing structure on proposed parcel 2 is definitely not the 1,200 square foot single family residence that you're talking about. I just want to be really clear on that. There is an existing single family home on the parcel, the remainder parcel that is intended to remain, that has been disclosed. There is an additional existing structure on proposed parcel 2. That is what member Santiago was asking about.
Thank you, Meredith.
Okay. Any further questions? Just quick question for Meredith. Meredith, this project, does it comply with the zoning code and the general plan, and the environmental analysis looked at the trees and the wetlands and
That's correct.
offsite improvements?
That's correct. We did analyze this project against the general plan, the Orangevale community plan, and the Sacramento County zoning code. It does not deviate from any of the applicable standards or policies, and we have a CEQA document determining that all environmental impacts will result in less than significant impact with mitigation.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, what's the pleasure of the committee?
Hello.
Yes.
This is Ray, astronomer, the owner.
And could you tell us who's speaking?
Ray, astronomer, I'm the owner. I just want to say something.
Sure.
Okay. I know the neighbors. They have a lot of concerns. The safety, the elderly facilities, the traffic. Just to let them know that I'm not really planning to operating or building a facility there. I don't know where did they get those information. And I'm planning to build a retirement house there with my wife and my kids. That's the plan. And they shouldn't be really worrying about that. The property will be, very quiet, no traffic. Everybody will be safe.
It's a family thing.
This is for my family. So they shouldn't be really worrying about that. I just want to make sure to everybody.
Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate those comments. Okay. I don't think I need to close the public hearing, but why don't we go ahead and get a motion on the table?
Brian, this is member Santiago again.
Yes, Tony.
I would like to change condition 23. So
okay.
The way it reads now, it's fine, but I want to add the language also to the satisfaction of the site improvement and permit section. So it'll give me some flexibility to to, construct the road, to have the road constructed and minimize the impacts on oak trees.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Okay. We have amended conditions, and I think the committee's ready to take some action. So, Kimber?
Yeah. Before make a motion, I just wanted to reiterate part of Meredith's presentation. So what we are approving, or what we are making a motion on today and analyzing and reviewing today, is the tentative parcel map. So that is to divide the property. Any future development would be subject to, separate processes, whether it be a building permit, or if it is a more intensive use, it would potentially go through a use permit. So just to be clear for members of the community listening in who may not have heard that part of Meredith's presentation, but single family homes and accessory dwelling units are permitted within the agricultural residential 2 zoning district, as well as residential care homes with 6 or less bedrooms are permitted outright. So anything more than 6 bedrooms would be required to go through a subsequent entitlement process. So just wanted to make that known again and just reiterate that point.
Thank you.
So with that, I did review everything. So I do make a motion to approve the project. So recognize that the environmental analysis prepared pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act is adequate and complete. Adopt the mitigation monitoring and reporting program. Approve the tentative parcel map subject to findings and conditions listed in attachment 2 of this report. And find the project in substantial compliance with the countywide design guidelines subject to findings and conditions. With the change in condition number 23 that Mr. Santiago referred to add the language and to the satisfaction of the site improvements and permitting section. And then also to add a condition of approval prior to recordation of the final map to demolish the existing building on parcel 2. And then I believe there was one other change for environmental management department to condition number 28 to change the trigger language from prior to filing of the final map to prior to recordation of the parcel map.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Member Santiago.
Thank you, Tony. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion, any questions about the amended conditions? None appearing. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Certainly. Mr. Holloway?
Aye.
Miss Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Santiago?
Aye.
Ms. Floyd? Mr. Hicks?
Aye.
Did we lose Megan on the call?
Miss Floyd?
Yeah, at one point I saw that she had dropped.
Okay. All right. And so does the motion pass?
This is Greg from the clerk's office. I believe we had 4 ayes. That would, the motion would pass with the members present.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Appreciate that. And just a reminder to the commenters that you have 10 days to appeal, and you must file that with the clerk of the board. Okay. And we have another item on our agenda. I think it's item 3. And I'm not sure who will be reporting on this.
Yes, we have item 3, the community input on Sacramento County fiscal year 2022-23 budget priorities.
Do we have a report on this, or is this it just for information?
This is Lydia from the Clerk of the Board's office, and this is basically a report out, and they're seeking input on the budget for priorities for next year, 2022 through 23. And I believe one of the possibly Mr. Pahuli, Chris Pahuli, or one of the planning staff members will give the presentation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, this is
You're
Chris
welcome.
Pahuli. Sorry, this is Chris Pahuli, Principal Planner. I could just do a really quick overview. Included in your agenda packet was these briefing materials. It's a summary of the 2021-2022 county annual budget. The county's Board of Supervisors has directed staff to get input from the various boards and commissions as they start to make preparation for next year's budget already. So the intent is for staff to go out to all of the boards and commissions. We've been meeting with the CPACs, at least planning staff have been, along with the clerk of the board's office, and other departments have been meeting with their boards and commissions at their staff too, and seeking input on priorities. I understand the SRC, given that it's mostly county departments and agencies, it's a little different for us to be coming to the SRC and seeking out thoughts on priorities. But again, the direction is to meet with all of the boards and commissions, have a conversation about priorities and where the county should be targeting its funding in the 2022-2023 budget. And from there, once input is received, they're going to be using that to craft an outreach program for the 2022-23 budget to get community input and stakeholder input. So again, this is kind of an early discussion to solicit any input on priorities, and the clerk of the board's office will be taking notes from the discussion. And so what we're asking is that if there is input that the SRC wants to provide in terms of priorities for the budget, to do so at this time.
Okay, let's open it up to the committee members. Any thoughts and recommendations from the committee? Hearing none, I do have a question. Chris, thank you for the report and for bringing this to us. Do you anticipate in the budget that there will be any changes to either the procedures or the staffing for the subdivision review committee?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Okay. From my perspective, that would be the only question that I would have. Any other members of the committee have preferences or suggestions, comments? Hearing none, I think we're done with item 3. Thank you, Chris. Okay, let's see. Going back to the agenda, looking for it on my phone. I think the 4th item would be any report from the planning department. Kimber, do we have any update or anything you need to report out from planning?
I do not. I have no update.
Okay. Comments and questions from the committee members? Anything for the good of the order?
This currently, no comments at the moment.
Okay. All right, everybody. Before I adjourn the meeting, please have a fun and safe Labor Day holiday, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. I'd like to adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.